Om, 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 om. Greetings, Zenith. Friends, this is your host, E.T., with another astrology video. And today, we are going to be moving on from the sun to the moon. And what the moon means in astrology. The moon in astrology is the most sensitive point in the chart. It is the most important. You know, forget the sun sign. The moon is much more revealing. Like I've said in other videos, people are much more like their moon, especially children. In the first phase of life, you know, childhood to teenage years, the moon is operating dominantly in someone's chart. And still, I believe as time even progresses and goes on, even though we come into embodiment of our sun more, the moon is still such a revealing and important place because it represents our comfort zone. It represents our perspective in life. It represents our vantage point. It represents our inner dialogue. The moon also represents mother, right? Sun, father. Sun and Saturn, more father, but moon, certainly mother. Moon also represents the mind. Not the analytical mind, the left brain, but the right brain, the intuitive mind. The mind that feels, the feeling mind. The abstract mind. That doesn't communicate in words and language. It communicates in images and subtle synchronicities that you must pay attention to even see, that are all around us at all time. And the more you level up into that frequency, the more you're aware of it. But the truth is that's always happening. It's, are we aware of it? So the moon is the most revealing point, really. It shows, like I said, forget the sun sign. The moon sign is much more important. It is the most vulnerable planet. And in synastry, one-on-one, you know, relationships, which is really why I even started doing astrology in the first place, is for, you know, romantic partners, for relationships, for, you know, to see how people get along, for business colleagues, for family members. Synastry is so amazing. I think that's probably a huge reason why people even get into astrology in the first place, right? Because of our love interests. Not to discredit the vast amount of knowledge and insight that it will give you into your own knowledge of self, your own self journey, your own spiritual growth, your own understanding of your specific blueprint, and how important and helpful that can be used when utilized to your ascension, to your development, to your authenticity, but embodiment of your higher self. Un besseres Ich, right? The better self. So, astrology is a fabulous tool, and the moon is so important. It really shows everything. With synastry, with romantic partners, the moon, you know, that's a really important one. If people's moons aren't supported, then the relationship doesn't necessarily have a good chance, I would say. You know, along with a lot of other things, but we will try to focus on the moon in this video. So in Vedic astrology and the Eastern traditions, the sidereal, we have what's called the nakshatras, which is translated to the lunar mansions, and this is so important because each lunar mansion has a star system behind it that has a supporting role and dynamic to that specific moon placement. So if you don't know your nakshatra and you're an astrology nerd like me, you need to learn that and study it. I'm not trying to confuse you with combining Western and Eastern modalities. My advice is to stick with one and stay with it so that you don't confuse yourself. However, nakshatra is so important. So I am a huge fan of figuring that out and understanding your own personal lunar mansion, because this is going to explode you into knowledge of self, self-realization, and things that, you know, tropical Western astrology just lacks. We have to look to the ancestors. You know, like I said in the last video, I believe astrology is the oldest science. So why wouldn't you incorporate the ancients, the Vedas? You know, I'm not saying that's the as-all, end-all. You know, since then we've also developed, and so we need to incorporate these other things like Uranus and Pluto and asteroids such as Lilith. Okay, I'm going off on a tangent here. Back to the moon. The moon is so important. Depending on your nakshatra, the pada, and the associations with it, it's going to give you so much insight and realization into yourself, and if you're like me, others. If you're curious about others, how others operate, how, you know, everyone fits into the grand scheme of things. So that is so revealing. You know, you could be Gemini sun, but with these 12 different moon options of the zodiac, it changes everything. Scorpio moon with Gemini sun is way different than a Capricorn moon with a Gemini sun. So different, right? And that goes for every sign and every single thing, especially Cancer. Why? Because Cancer is ruled by the moon. So let's talk more about the moon. It is representing, like I said, your mother, but psychic intuition. You know, the lunar abstract right side of the brain. It is the intuitive mind, one that communicates in pictures, right, and feelings, in abstract ways, not this analytical Mercury stuff. So, moon is so important. And just like the sun, if there's planets there, moon conjunct Pluto, you know, it can show some trauma. It's also known as the psychic, but it can show you some trauma with the mother and a lot of other things. And that can go with moon square Pluto as well, or hard aspects to the moon, you know, Saturn moon. These people are gonna be a little less emotional, a little more masculine in their lunar expression. That's the divine feminine, right? And the moon is so, you know, as well as Venus, but we're not talking about that. The moon is so fluid. The moon is the fastest moving luminary, right? It's not a planet, it's a luminary. It's illuminated. It moves through the 12 zodiac signs in 1 month. 1 month, that's where we got the name, the moon cycle. We're all connected to it. Women and their menstrual cycle. Men and our connection to the feminine and the earth, and we have water in our body as well. And if the moon is affecting the water on the planet, and we are, you know, 90% water, everyone's being affected by the moon all the time. I don't know where the moon is right now per se. Actually, let me do the math. Actually, no, I'm not going to do the math, because you know, you'll look at this video at different times. But the point is it's always moving, it's always changing, it's coming into every single sign throughout an entire lunar cycle, which is a month, goes through all these phases, manipulates water, manipulates people. It's the fastest moving thing. You know, it comes into contact with all of the planets in its monthly journey. The moon is so important, and it's so relevant every day. The moon is shifting, the moon is moving at least, over 10 degrees a day. Yes, it stays in one sign about 2.5 days. Okay? So that's fast. That's really fast, and therefore every day is going to be different because the moon is constantly in this fluid motion. And whether people know it or not, it's totally affecting everyone and everything all day, every day, as well as the water, as well as our bodies, as well as our mind, our intuitive mind. Okay? You know what? I am going to look where the moon is so I can just give an example. I hope you like my new frame here. Give me one moment. I don't really have a prompter, but I do all my videos just on the fly. Like you notice, there's not much editing unless my video cuts out because of storage. So let me just pull up where the moon is today so I can just give you an example of, how important it is. I was gonna say the moon is in Capricorn, but I stopped myself. So it is. So what does that mean? Saturn's its ruler right now. So things are getting real. We're getting structural. We're, getting disciplined. And then the moon is at 22 degrees Capricorn. Pluto is at 0 and 4 minutes Aquarius. This is the Western tropical. So, there's a lot of fear coming up in the collective as moon approaches Pluto. Okay? This is just an example of where we are today and how important it is. So, tomorrow that conjunction will be over. In 24 hours, the moon will move into Aquarius and it will still be ruled by Saturn, but it will be moving on from its conjunction with Pluto. So, you'll notice as the moon moves through the wheel, and specifically I've noticed this the past 2 years, because Saturn and Pluto have been pretty close. Once a month, when the moon gets close to Saturn and Pluto, shit gets real. People get edgy. It becomes like a thing, and I've just learned to meditate through it. And then typically, Saturn's in Pisces now, but typically when the moon enters Pisces, it's like, a release, Now we can become a little more artsy and a little more intuitive and fun and creative. So the moon is just affecting the entire collective all the time. It's so important. Your nakshatra is so important. It determines who you are, the secrets of your self, secrets of your divine, unique energy. And very important with relationships, very important with relationship with self, okay? And then, of course, as the moon conjuncts the sun, we have new moon. In its opposition, we have full moon. And then we have, I guess, what we call quarter phase, which is a half moon in the sky at the square to the sun, And then well, I won't go too much into any other things because this is a lunar video. So yeah, people are always affected by the moon. It's really important. People are way more like their moon sign. If I forgot anything about the moon, please let me know in the comments. Thank you guys for subscribing to this video, hitting the like button, commenting, giving me all the love. I'm thinking about starting a subscription-based club where I'm reading for people transits once a month, as well as sending seasonal medicine, because you may not be aware, but I spend quite a bit of time working on apothecary products that I use every day of my life, that I love, that, I make these things for me, but I'm at the point now where I know they're good. It's the highest quality possible. And so I'm ready to start sharing it. So if you think that is a good idea and that is something maybe you're interested in, as well as being on my Reiki list, I'm gonna start opening up to do Reiki sessions remotely for people. But yeah, if you think getting on some kind of subscription-based interaction with me where I'm personally reading for you transits once a month, as well as putting you on my Reiki list, and sending you seasonal medicine or specific medicine based on your natal chart, infusing astrology with holistic medicine. If you're interested in that, as well as coaching and other services I have to offer, there's so much. I'm trying to figure out how to put it all into one thing to benefit people. But if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments or shoot me a direct message on social media. And because I haven't necessarily started it yet, I need a couple of trials. I need a couple people to kind of step in and, be my guinea pigs, which I'm going to hook up. So if you resonate with this, if you want me to give you one-on-one coaching, one-on-one astrology readings, develop personalized seasonal medicine that's going to enhance your life, shipped to your house or place of residence, depending on where you live, because shipping is pretty expensive. So it just depends on how that is going to all work. But I am in the position to start doing that now, and I've been working on this for several years. So I'm open to sharing my gifts. I'm open to therapy. I'm open to Reiki. I'm open to a lot of other things, as well as coaching in other dimensions. So anyway, if this resonates with you, if you feel like this is something you would be down to get down with, let me know. Contact me. You can email me at etastro77@gmail.com to get on this to get into a deeper, more personal relationship with me one-on-one. I am a projector, so I do well one-on-one, one energy at a time. However, I'm also a hermit, so I don't really spend much time with people, but I can spend time with people at a distance. And especially with the remote Reiki. I mean, I've had several clients throughout the years. I've been doing Reiki for over 20 years now. My grandmother is a master, and she taught me at a very young age, so it's just something that is natural to me and something I've utilized my whole life, but I know that it's something also that people don't quite understand. So anyway, I'm down to serve, and I'm down to help people specifically. So with that said, moon sign is so important. Thank you guys for listening and watching this far. And if you have any questions, let me know, and maybe tell me your moon sign in the comments, and some typical things that is stereotypical about you and your moon. Thank you guys so much for all the love. I appreciate all of the wonderful support, and 29 subscribers. How exciting. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care.